Alright, I'm Adam and I'm here today with Showinyoutoo, and we're going to show you how to install a GFI outlet in your home application or whatever you're using it for. I've already gone over pretty much what this is. It's a device for measuring voltage leak to make sure, pretty much, it's to make sure you don't drop a hair dryer in the bathtub or any kind of appliance you could get wet and shock yourself. This prevents that. And you're going to find them in all your bathrooms and all your kitchens because it's code, and it has to be there. So you always have issues with these. If you do have a problem with this, and it's tripping all the time, folks, this happens a lot. And I come into this on hundreds of homes that I've worked on. It's just a bad GFI, and they do go bad. They're so sensitive, and they work so much that eventually, with all the heat and all the power that builds up in here, just heat alone ends up frying the internals, and it does go bad. So if it trips on you, just replace it. Okay. So here's how we're going to replace this. Pretty much, when you go to your application, you're going to see a box, something like this, and you might only have one set of wires, and that's fine. If you only have one set of wires, you're going to just do the first step in this process. If you have two sets of wires like so, I'll show you that too. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, you're probably going to pull the outlet off and get to a stage where this outlet's sitting here, all hooked up and sort. So we're going to go, first of all, before you touch anything, go to the power, go to the panel to the house, obviously, a sub panel, wherever it's at, kill the breaker. Make sure your power's dead, okay? And you can test that with a voltage meter, okay? It does not have to be this one. It can be any voltage meter. There's cheap voltage meters at Home Depot. They do not cost more than $3, and you can make sure that it's safe to play with power, okay? Because you don't ever want to play with anything hot. You can get hurt, okay? You can get hurt. Anyways, okay, so first thing you want to do is you want to make powers off. As soon as you know that power's off, okay, you want to come over here. You want to unhook all this stuff. You want to get your wires exposed, okay? You want to make sure that the black wire is away from everything else, because what I need you to do next is a little bit dangerous, okay? So we're going to make sure that the black wire is away from everything else. The whites, which are these two here, which are your commons, and your ground wires, these two bare copper wires here, these need to be away from the black wire. The black wire is your hot, and this is what's holding all the power coming in, okay? Now if you have two of these wires, when you go and flip the breaker back on at your panel, only one of these wires is going to have power in it, okay? The other one just jumps to this wire and continues power to hook onto something else, okay? So what you want to do is you want to come back to your panel, you want to turn power back on, okay? And make sure that these are either capped off or whatever you have to do so that nobody else comes into your house and accidentally touches this or gets hit and shocked or whatever. It will electrocute them. I'll tell you that right now. It will electrocute them. And so you come back. Once your power's on, be very careful. These are live. I'm going to tell you that, okay? So you're going to want to take one of your leads on your power meter and you're going to want to hold it onto this black wire, okay? And then you're going to want to touch the ground wire or the common. Either one, it doesn't matter. Ground is easiest to do, okay? And if you get a reading on your meter, okay, that's how you're going to know that this one's hot, okay? Whatever one of them is going to give you a reading on your meter, okay? Your meter here is going to say something like 120 volts, or it's going to say something like 118 volts or 122 volts. If you get any big reading like that, that's the one that has power on it, okay? Label that, put a wire nut on it, whatever you have to do, go back to your panel, kill the power, okay? So now you've established that this is your power coming in, okay? So this needs to be established. So we have a power in and a power out on a GFI, okay? So you're going to come back here, power's off. Now you're going to start hooking up your GFI, and it's very simple, okay? On the back of a GFI, we have two things. We have a line in and we have a line charge and a load charge, okay? The line charge is right here on the bottom. It represents these two bottom lugs, okay? This one here and this one here. And then the load charge is the top one here. And this represents these two lugs, okay? So what we're going to do first is we're going to take the one with power coming in, okay? And we're going to hook it to the line charge. Line in. Always remember that. Line is power going in. So we're going to take the gold lugs first, always on the right side of a plug, or the small side. The small side represents the hot wire. The bigger side on a plug always represents a common. So we're going to take it on the gold lugs here, on the small side. We're going to take our hot wire, and we're going to put it in the back, on the line side. Line in, okay? And then we're going to screw that down and make sure that's fastened. Make sure it's not going to pull out like that, because they pull out easy. It'll trick you. And there's something in my thread, so I'm having an issue here. Get that out of there. Okay. Make sure you lock them down really tight. Really tight. Don't break it. Make sure they're tight. They're not going to pull out, because this is your first problem. I'll tell you that right now. Okay. Next thing you want to do is you want to take the second wire on the same run, okay? Notice how there's two different runs here. There's a Romex in the box here. This is one line. This was when we established that our power was on, our power in. This is a completely separate run. So we're only dealing on the bottom half of the plug with this run here, our power in, okay? We're going to take our white one, which is a common, and we're going to put it to the silver lug on the opposite side, on our line charge, which is power coming in. Okay, we're going to hook that up. Make sure that doesn't pull out. Very important. Okay. Next step is we're going to hook up our ground. Okay. Now the ground is very simple to hook up. It's a green lug down at the bottom of the GFI here. Now if you only have one set of wires, you're just going to go ahead and you're going to hook this wire up by giving it a pigtail with your pliers or any pliers, just like that. You're going to hook it on the plug clockwise and wrap it around the screw, and then you're going to screw it down. But in this application, I have two wires, so I'm going to need to do something different so I can hook both of them up to that ground lug. Okay, so at this stage, if I have a second set of wires, I'm going to go ahead and hook up my load side. Okay, and this is power out. This is going to go and protect another run, maybe several other outlets that don't look like this on my same kitchen countertops, or maybe another bathroom outlet that's right next to this. This is going to be protecting this outlet, and this is how this outlet gets power. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that thing, same thing all over again. We're going to start with our black wire. And there's only one place left this can really go, and this would be our load side. We're always going to put it on the gold lugs. We're going to hook this in there to the gold. Sometimes they can be a little pain in the butt. I'm going to tighten it down really, really good, because we don't want that to be loose. Okay, we checked it. Okay, then we're going to take our common on our second one, which is our second white common, and we're going to put it on the load side, on the common side. Put it all the way in. Try to make sure not much copper is exposed. I always like to clip my wires just long enough so that there's only casing and it can always be safe to touch and grab. Okay, you're going to want to tighten that down all the way. Okay, extremely tight. Okay, now at this stage, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take both of these common wire, or both of these ground wires, excuse me, and usually I'd use lineman's pliers, but not everybody has those, so I'm just going to show you by hand real quick here. And you're going to want to twist them together. We call them pigtailing them. We're going to want to make sure that these are bonded completely together. Twist them all around. Okay, and then only use one end and clip the other one off. Because if you try to fit two grounds on this screw, the chances are when you tighten it down, it's just going to widen both of them out, and they're going to become unhooked, and it's not going to be grounded. So you're always going to want to take it and pigtail them, and then just use one end. And usually I use a barrel crimp, but I don't happen to have any on me, which is a little round copper crimp piece, and you can crimp that down, and that's what most inspectors want to see. Then you want to give this a half round, and you want to bring this over. It's kind of hard, they're really, really stiff, but you can make it work. You just pop it in there like so, and then I always like to give it an extra little crimp to make sure that that wire isn't going to come off, and wrap it around that screw. They're hard to take off, but that's the point. I don't want this to come loose. Then you want to screw that down as tight as you can get it, and see, I always go clockwise, so it only tightens my wire around. If I was to put it on counterclockwise, it would loosen it and it would come off, and my connections would be off. So now that I'm at this step, I want to make sure all my connections are good. I can't wiggle them out, I can't pull them out. They're all pretty solid. Now we're just going to twist it a bit. Maybe give it a little bend here in the middle. I always bend them, push them back in, give it a little twist if it's fighting you. Oh, I got it the wrong way there. Pop it back in, and then you're going to set your screws back down. You're going to go back to your outlet, or you're going to go back to your panel, and you're going to flip the breaker on, and you're going to hit reset, and your outlet's good to go. Thanks for watching.